Eric Michael Schrader. How the hell are you?
Good. What's up, East Coaster?
Party. So
Yeah.
let's just get that out of the way, dude. Party. Origins. Tell me.
Well, obviously it comes from like Wayne's World for sure, right?
Yeah.
It's one of my, but I think I was using that word a lot with friends back home. I think it actually meant like party, like here, have another beer party.
Yeah.
And it was always funny. I think other people were saying it and I was laughing. So when I came to Los Angeles, I was like, how am I going to stick out rather than, hi, here's my business card? I was always like, hey, what's up? I'm Eric, party. And I would just say it all the time. And it was just kind of like some way for people to remember who I was. Oh, that's the party guy. It doesn't mean the party. It's like a hello, how are you? Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Like, I got to use the bathroom party. Like,
Yeah.
I'll see you in a sec. So when I first moved to Los Angeles and I was a PA, I was trying to stick out and not be like, here's my
Everybody
business
else,
card,
right.
hire me. I wanted them to think I was cool, I guess. And I had the hair to match, I guess, and the rock and roll, like, jewelry. And
Nice.
so I packaged myself before I left, because before I left, I just looked like a nerd. No. I always looked this way.
You always had long hair?
Yeah. As far as I can remember. And I'm still trying to keep it at this point. And it's still there.
Well, if you had talked to me a month ago, mine was about as long as yours.
Yeah.
But I'd been into it for like 2.5 years, and I went through this 2-hour, 3-hour, I don't even know how long it was, to clean my freaking master bathroom and clean out the drains, literally pulling up the thing and like digging out like these clumps of hair that were like a mouse. And I'm like, I'm kind of done with this, I think.
Yeah. I have like a rat's nest growing in the back of my head right now. I have to like use my girlfriend's straightener just to get it out. It's like, because I tied it in a knot. And then when you pull the thing out, you're like, what is that back there? So today's a good hair day because I actually, I combed it for you, Tim.
Thank you, sir.
Did. I combed it and
sir.
I did this thing and I did that thing over there. And I don't know what this thing is over here, but it's happening.
You grew up in New Haven, right?
Born and raised. Hamden was our hometown, but
Okay.
we're right on the lines. We would always
Yeah.
take the bus. I used to go to like Town Hall in Hamden and jump on the bus for like 75 cents. And it took us to like New Haven, right in
Do
the
you know
center.
how old that makes us sound?
Yeah, the 75 cents. Well, it's only like $1.75 now. It only went up $1.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, in LA it is. And no one takes it. Because nobody walks in LA, right? Everyone drives their Teslas or whatever the hell they're driving.
Right.
But yeah, I love New Haven. That was like my favorite place to go as a kid. And still when I come home to visit, it's how many nights a pizza. And
Which is your favorite?
I actually love bar.
Okay.
Because you never have to wait. So there's not those ridiculous lines. There's awesome brewery right there. And they have the garlic mashed potato bacon. And that's to die for.
I remember hearing the story about Pepe's and what is it, Marathon, the original location where the two partners, they had, correct me if I'm wrong about any of the story, because you're a New Havenite, I'm sure you know the story, but they had a falling out.
Yes.
So they divided the restaurant and the kitchen in half, and they both still used the freaking oven, but they had two separate restaurants. But that's the understanding I had. There was that at that location, like they had this weird thing. It's a giant oven. You can have like a panel with like 3 pizzas you can put on in there. And like that was the extent of like the breakdown. I might have the story wrong, but
I believe it was Pepe's, and then the brothers, or they just didn't get along. So the other one created Sally's.
Yeah.
And that's
Sally's a pizza, right? Like that's it. A pizza club.
No, actually this one is this is actually here in Los Angeles. It's called Ozzy's Pizza, but the guys are from New Haven, and it's right here in North Hollywood where I live. So like 2 dudes that were like from Connecticut, New Haven, and East Haven are making pizza down the street. So I always go in and this is like this is a wrestling shirt. It's a ripoff. It's actually the Bullet Club. It's a wrestling phrase or fraction in AEW, but they have like cool like Ozzy's Pizza. It's like a WrestleMania logo, and I'm like, these guys have New Haven pizza and wrestling merchandise.
They don't ship the water in, do they?
No, but I saw a news article. It was Modern was bottling water and shipping it now.
Really?
It's like $25.
There's some places here in Tampa that claim that they get water either from New York, like from Brooklyn, because it's like New York pizza here in Tampa. It's a chain, and they claim that they get the water in, and that's what makes the difference.
It's the water.
Yeah,
it's the water.
I don't know if that has any validity whatsoever, but you know,
I mean, I'll eat any pizza at this point. I actually like I like Trader Joe's pizza. I'll eat any pizza.
I was looking at your IMDb this morning, and I realized, like, dude, you're on Burial Boys, and I had forgotten about that.
Yeah,
and
I hope a lot of people did.
Well, one of the actresses' last names is Meat Rock. Did you pick the name Meat Rock in your movie for that?
No, I guess I did use that in Burial Boys, Mrs. Meat Rock. I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot. Meat Rock, this is crazy. Meat Rock is a couple years older than me. People said that we looked like each other. I guess we could have been brothers. And I'm more of a punk rocker guy, and he was really into metal. And we worked at a music store in Hamden, Connecticut. We worked at it's called Music Box, and his name was Mike, and his nickname was Meat Rock. And I always thought as a kid, wow, what a name.
Yeah.
So when I did Burial Boys, this movie I made, a comedy, a couple of years back when I still lived in Connecticut, that name was always, I always loved that name, and it stuck.
Yeah.
And then recently, make another movie, not even thinking what you said, call the character Meat Rock, and like literally shooting this film with hearing the name Meat Rock every day on set. And I went to a wedding in Honolulu. I went with my girlfriend, and it was like Chinese New Year. And we were like, oh, let's go to like Chinatown. It was ghetto. And I thought there was gonna be like a parade, and no one was there. It was like,
wow.
It was like it's like Christmas. Everything's shut down. I thought it was gonna be open.
Right.
Have like a cool celebration. So I'm like, homeless people are coming up to us. It was getting really scary. People are on drugs. And all of a sudden, this guy starts walking towards me with like a Hatebreed shirt on. I'm like, this guy's first of all, he's going to kill me. Why is he wearing a Hatebreed shirt in Hawaii? And he goes, Eric. I go, Meat Rock. I'm like, out of all the places, there he is in Honolulu on the streets.
Dude, it's a half of planet from...
And I'm like, I thought you were going to kill me. He goes, I saw on Facebook you were visiting. I was going to hit you up, but I figured you'd be too busy. I go, what are you doing here? He goes, I run this rock club right here. You want to go see a show tonight? And I'm like, yeah. And we got like free entry, like free drinks. And we just watched a bunch of bands in Honolulu instead of celebrating Chinese New Year.
How freaking amazing is that? And that surprises me, dude, because there is a very large Asian population in Hawaii in general, but in Honolulu specifically.
I think it's just like that day where they just rest, be with their family.
Yeah, because Chinese New Year's is more than a day. It's like, a several day or like 10-day event, and it culminates with like the first night is typically when they do all the stuff and all the celebrating and everything. But then there's like a series of things. It's definitely a transition from one year to another.
How crazy and that's funny. I totally forgot there was Mrs. Meat Rock. Someone was called that. I forget who, but someone was called that. Yeah, I always loved that name. I was like, oh, what a freaking name that is, Meat Rock.
And I know the woman too. She ran a podcast or something for years. There's a V in her name. I should have still had your IMDb up.
Was it Jackie?
Up. Yes, Jackie. It was Jackie.
Yeah, I remember her part. Yeah. So that was funny because her part is she plays the mom of this metal band, and they all like die, and she thought the metal band passed out.
I think I saw it years ago.
Yeah, she thinks she makes pop brownies for them, and she thinks she killed them with the pop brownies, but that's not really how they die.
Hilarious.
She was great. She was. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, she was great, Jackie.
So what made you just like full on wrap things up and decide, I did a few things here in Connecticut and I'm going to LA and I'm going to do something out here? Like, what was the impetus? Like, what triggered you to go?
Well, the first time I ever went, I was on tour many years before. So when I moved out, I probably came here in 2002, just
Okay.
like traveling with a band on the road. And I fell in love immediately. I was like, this place. Oh, and then seeing something like the Rainbow and the Whiskey and just that whole Sunset Strip, I was just like, we don't have this back home. And when I was in the band that toured, like we didn't have YouTube or anything like that. So I was still making like, you know, fireworks of us on the road, like somewhere in the desert, like firing Roman candles at each other, thinking it was funny and just crazy stuff. And I was like, always editing videos of the band. And when the band broke up, I was like, I know why, you know, I have a reason to go back to school because I was already in college for like a year, dropped out, did the whole band thing. And then once the band was over, I was like, I'm going back to get, you know, to do video.
Yeah. And had you gone down that path previously?
Yeah.
Or did that okay.
But I just didn't feel I was ready and I didn't like it. And the band was kind of like pulling me this way and was doing more stuff. So I was like, I could always go back. And then I was just, you know, being in a band too, you're relying on everybody else for your success together. And I felt like people really putting in the work, maybe like more songs, better effort. And I was just like, video is something that was always going to be, it's all on me. Like I'm going to be the one doing this.
Right.
So I went back, graduated, and got a few good gigs. Like the college I was at asked me back to teach. And I was like, I don't have a teaching degree. They're like, yeah, but adjunct professor, you're good in what you do. So I got to come on part-time for a little bit. And then my buddy had sold a TV show to National Geographic. And this was taking place in Massachusetts. The teaching gig was ending. And he's like, do you want to come to Massachusetts with me? You'll meet people from LA. You always talk about how much you love LA. You travel there. Anytime you get extra money just to go sit at the Rainbow, you might as well meet some folks that could probably help with you in the future. You never know. Network.
Right.
So the first day of that job, everyone was kind of a dick. They didn't want to talk to me because I was the PA. You don't talk to the PA unless you want coffee. You don't talk to him. But we're on the road together around the Massachusetts area, maybe New Jersey. I forget where else we were, but we weren't going home. We were just like in hotels. So like 30 days on the road, after a while, you know, the fear dissolves and everyone becomes best friends.
Right.
And after that show ended, I was kind of thinking, maybe I should just go. Maybe I should just go now. I have my first real credit. This is amazing, but that's not going to happen enough for me in Connecticut. Like, might as well take a chance. And then my mom was literally like, just go. You need to go. You have a gift. Do you want to do what your brother and your dad did? I mean, they support their families, but they worked for the post office. And I definitely didn't want to work for the post office and follow in the footsteps of being a postmaster. I was like, yeah, I got to go. And it was the best risk worth taking. And a lot of people around me too, my friends, nothing against it, but they were getting married, having kids. And I was just kind of like, where is everybody? Like no one's around as much as they were.
Right.
So I felt like now is the time to go because no one's going to know that I left. I mean, they did, but like, all right, well, no one's around. So I'm going to LA. To live again, to be born again.
Well, it sounded like everything, like the universe kind of congealed into the place that you needed to be and to tell you where you needed to go. And
I had nothing. I mean, I sold all my Star Wars toys and like Simpsons memorabilia at flea markets with signs that said, get me to Hollywood. I sold all my CDs, stuff I collected for years.
Well, no loss there, everybody. Nobody has physical media anymore, really.
Actually, I listened to a CD this morning.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I got up so early and I didn't really want to I only listen to FM radio at the house, mostly.
Okay.
I had like old stereos in this house, all set to the same station. So I turn it on, you go from room to room, you hear the same stuff. And Los Angeles has really good rock stations. So you hear,
I imagine.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And if I had Spotify or something, I would just play the same thing over and over. So it's like, let the DJ do what he does best. But I sold all my stuff and I had like, I don't know, $2,000. I thought I was rich because I never got more than like 200 in my bank account. So I was like, all right, I'm rich. I'm going to LA. And that money went pretty fast. And I was no longer rich.
Right. You go to a big city like LA and you burn through that pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I imagine.
and people are just being super friendly to you, but they're not your friends. And then like everyone, I didn't, a nice lady would come over, probably want me to buy her a drink, and I would. But then it's like, oh, she takes it. Thanks, bye. I was like, wait, what?
Wait.
Oh,
wait.
That's this town.
That kind of sucks. Like, I thought that was a conversation starter, but no, I'm just buying you a free drink. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yep. But but then I started to meet like a lot of everyone here is like a transplant, so it was really cool. I felt comfortable when I started meeting more people that reminded me of my friends back home. So I started to get very comfortable. I was like, that guy reminds me of my friend Chris, and this guy, but they're different, but they kind of. So like I never came here to meet friends. I never thought about that. That was like the last thing. I came here to be like an editor and just work. But then I started to like meet people, and I was like, oh, why was I so like weird that I wasn't going to meet friends? And now I have too many, lots of them. And these friends aren't married and don't have kids, so they're always around.
You're like
on my couch. On my couch.
I got enough friends.
I got enough. No, and that's like a very conceited thing to say, but we have a gang over here a lot. Everyone's buddies with each other, and we talk every day on the phone. So that helped with like having like a foundation, kind of like a support group.
Yeah. Did that happen relatively early when you got there? Or
like literally, literally, I was in a band within 6 months of being here.
Well, that's fantastic.
And then playing for like, they were already pretty established here, and they needed a bass player. And playing for, I remember getting emotional. Like, I used to beg people in Connecticut to come to my shows, and they would, but not all the time. We were playing here in Hollywood every Thursday night, residency packed. I was like, this is awesome.
That's awesome. That's
and just
awesome.
like getting like tears in my eyes, thinking about home, and then like, all right, move on, let's play. Like just get like kind of emotional and then just go for it and have the best time.
Well, that's a funny thing that you mentioned. Connecticut was weird like that. Like down here in Florida, it's nothing for me to travel an hour or more to go do something or to have like some regular activity. It doesn't bother me one bit. In Connecticut, if you were asked to go 20, 25 minutes someplace, half the time, even in our 20s, your buddies would be like, I'll catch up with you another day, blah, blah. Like Connecticut had this weird vibe where people, it's a bedroom community. You know what I mean? Like people just like finished their job and they went home, and, you know, unless you were in a scene or like lived in and around it, like if you lived around the college area of New Haven or in Hartford or whatever, but Hartford's a whole different thing too. Like the way Hartford's laid out, it's like Trinity's downtown, but like, you know, University of Hartford's on the outskirts. There's other like, you know, UConn's all the way in Stores. There's a West Hartford branch, but it's not, you know, everything's kind of like, I don't know. It's like all segregated and like, not segregation in that sense, but like separated in these like little subsets of the city, you know?
New Haven's like, you know, it's here and here. Like I know where it starts and where it ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was all, that's what I loved about New Haven and not Los Angeles, but Hollywood's like that. Hollywood's everything's right there. Everything's walking distance. We all lived in this neighborhood. Like a lot of people went to the show. Everyone would just leave their apartments and just walk to the club.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like it was a music neighborhood for a while.
So a lot of other band members would come and support your show and vice versa. Like, so
other bands. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the manager is a really nice guy. His name's Fran. Fran also has done music for my films, like yourself.
Yeah. Really
cool guy. He was from Boston. So we got along really well with that East Coast friendship. A lot of my friends here are from the East Coast. I have a lot of friends from Israel and the East Coast.
Okay.
Really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Tampa's not unlike that. You know, Tampa and Orlando, like this South Florida area, a lot of transplants, man. Like a lot of people. You run into people, it's like, dude, I lived 5 miles from you for like 15 years back when I was up north, you know? Like, it's just crazy. And I never ran into you before. And now I know who you are. It's very bizarre.
I think it's the big cities. Yeah, if you live in the sticks somewhere in Connecticut, I mean, you weren't really seeing much. Here too, like, I mean, there's like the sticks of LA because this place is so big. So there's like, I've been here almost 13 years. I still have no idea where I live. People are like this, that. I'm like, First of all, I don't even drive, so don't even talk about 405 or 101. I have no idea. I mean, it's a freeway, right? Or a highway. No, it's a freeway. It's a highway. I don't.
What's the difference?
I don't know.
I hear it references a freeway out west. Here it's like highway, or it's, it's bizarre. It's bizarre, like, because it's basically the same thing, right? Unless there is something different about it. Maybe it's
one has like 6 lanes.
Okay.
I think that's the freeway.
Okay.
Highway is like what we have back in Connecticut.
Yeah, well, LA's nuts. There's some sections that are like 12 plus lanes wide, right? I mean, it just... Yeah.
I've always lived off the red line, which is like the metro here. We have a train, like a subway. And like nobody takes it. And sometimes it's kind of, it's very cheap. It's like $1.75.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the was a turnstile. It doesn't always work. And they're like, just go. It's like, yeah, it's awesome. And it goes from our neighborhood all the way to downtown. And I've always lived off the red line because if I needed to get a different part of the city, it was on and off the train. And people are like, you know how to take the train? I go, it's easy. And I get there way faster than sitting in a car and wait. I mean, Uber is like too much.
Yeah,
it used to be a lot cheaper. It's too much now.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so you don't drive at all? Like, you don't have a license or anything? You don't drive? Or you just haven't driven in years?
I had a car. I had a Mazda 323 hatchback. It was like a 1990. My mother was taking care of an older couple, and I got the thing, and it only had like 28,000 miles on it, and he wanted $500. I'm like, Mom, I was like, he never drove this. Where did he drive it? She goes, to like the liquor store and the golf course. That was it. So I was like, sweet. So that was my car in Connecticut, and then we shipped it. We put on like it would never make it across country, but we put it on like a bed, and it was like $1,000. Send it to me. I stuffed the trunk with a bunch of more of my belongings, like posters and stuff that I wanted for my room out here, and stick shift, kind of crazy on the freeway on the stick shift. Woof. I remember the first time going up, getting onto the freeway, and I'm like, here we go.
Dump the clutch.
Like, all of a sudden this car was like zoom. And I was like, holy, it was like, I felt like it was like Fifth Element, like the taxis. It's kind of like Back to the Future 2 when they first like go into the future, and like, what was that? It was a taxi cab. It was scary. And then I had it, and it actually helped me get the first gig, because the first gig that I had out here was being a production assistant. And the first question they asked, do you have a license? Do you drive? It's like, yes, I do. Not very good, but I do. So I used to have to go get, lunches or pick up gear from like one gear house, bring it to LAX, ship it to Alaska. And it was great. Then as soon as I started getting promoted, I didn't use the car as much. I lived down the street from the studio.
Okay.
So I actually left my car at the studio, and I would just walk, because parking and getting tickets and street cleaning and all that, it was just easier to leave my car at work. If I wanted my car to say to go to the beach or something, I would walk on the weekends. I would walk back from my apartment to the office, get in my car, and then go to the beach.
So the PA position, it sounds like that was with Life Below Zero. Is that correct?
It was a dual. I was doing 2 shows at the same time in the same building. So Life Below Zero was one of them, and it was just starting. I think it was called Bush, Alaska. It didn't even have the name Life Below Zero yet. It was called Bush, Alaska. And then the other show was Ladies of London, which was a Bravo show, which is basically like Housewives, but like really crazy, like English women, just like, bloody hell,
heavy accents,
where's like my tea? Yeah, so I would do stuff for both those shows. That show eventually left the building, or I think it ended. But then this Bush, Alaska turned into Life Below Zero, and then that machine just kept going, and I was there from the beginning. I was there before episode 1 had even premiered. I saw them editing what became episode 1.
So that's what it's like 12 years, right? Like 12 years.
Yeah.
It went on for 12 years.
Like
you were there for the whole time.
I think next week on Nat Geo, I believe, is the final episode.
Wow.
And I started in 2013, and I think next Tuesday is the final episode, or within the next 2 weeks. Crazy. I was thinking about that today. I was outside and I was like, imagine first grade to your senior year of high school. That's how long I was on that show.
Amazing.
I was
Absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
it didn't feel that way because I guess we're mature and time goes by faster. Like, think about first grade, your first day of first grade, and then the day like you graduated from high school. Crazy.
Yeah. So I've been thinking about that show and thinking about things to ask you about for it. And one of the things that came up in my mind was, so it went on for like 12 seasons. How did you, as an editor, have to make adjustments every season to like one up yourself from the previous one and make it better every single year? Like what was behind that?
I mean, I think the motive. No, I don't think I ever really thought about it other than the team going, let's really like put our best foot forward. I think that when the footage was coming in, the cinematographers, they've won Emmys like almost every year in the last 12 years.
Yeah, which you got something behind you there, I see.
Yes, I do.
Is that 2 seasons worth?
Yeah. Yeah, those are the babies.
Nice.
The girls. I think the inspiration was always just seeing the new footage come in, and you're like, they're all trying like new tricks, like GoPros on planes and, GoPros on, a chainsaw or like these really cool epic hero shots and slow-mo. So I always think it was the field team that were making the editors inspired,
Okay.
You would just get this amazing footage, and they like every season they got crazier and crazier, and it was more intriguing. And I think that's what really inspired us.
How intense was the review process in post? Like as you edit episodes, do you sit in with these producer meetings and watch the episode and take notes?
You have a screening. You have a screening with everyone, and you're just like, it's like the hard day for the editor because you're like, I hope they like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I feel because everyone was on the same page. We worked as a team. It's not just on my shoulders. Everyone was in communication with each other the whole time. So by the time we saw it all together, we all kind of knew what this was going to be. They just wanted to
There's
see
no
it.
surprise.
No. We were always working, and this is not scripted. This is documentary reality. So it's like
you want what is extemporaneous things happening, right? You want unexpected narrative and dialogue and events, right?
I mean, the challenge lies in finding the story within it, the footage,
Mm-hmm.
and then you want to keep the I can't say the word authenticity.
Authenticity.
While remaining viewer engagement. It's like an ongoing balance. But this is real. They're really, like, I try to tell people, oh, I think I saw. Did they like win something? I go, no. It's not a game show. They're real as real can be. They're there. We just showed up and said, would you want to be on camera? They're really there. So I think that's the difference, because there's other shows, and I've seen ads now. They're all like copycats of what we had, like only one could survive. And it's like something Alaska, who's going to win?
Yeah. Well, they had this thing in and around Vancouver, and it was like, you have to survive for like 120 days or something like that. And
Game shows.
Yeah. And you're given very little stuff to survive with. You have to make your own shelter. You're in the wild, blah, blah, blah. But that's like, you can tap out. You can flare gun it. They come and show up. You doing all right? Did you lose too much weight? You're hallucinating. Let's get you to a hospital, blah, blah, blah. But that's not what Life Below Zero was.
No, and I learned a lot. I always like make like a joke to my girlfriend. I was like, if the world ends, I know how to survive. I'm nothing. She's like, no, you don't. I go, no, I forgot how to do all that stuff. But it was like you would sit there and
I know
edit.
how that guy would survive. You know?
You would, you sit there, and I think that was the biggest joy, is like, and I was thinking about it yesterday or maybe today. Things were like flashing to me because I knew we were doing this today. And I was like, I do actually really miss like editing some of those stuff and like learning the whole time. Like I felt like I was learning, and then really, all right, I'm gonna, this person's doing this and I'm editing. I'm really putting all my heart into it, because I'm like, they're showing me something and I'm trying to show the audience what they're showing me, and
Yeah.
do it in a very like, with the music and everything and just heighten this thing. And yeah, I saw some there's some crazy moments on that show. Like one of the dudes is like swimming in the water, completely nude, but he does that. That's how he takes a bath. And you're like, there's freaking ice in there. And it's like, whoa. I mean,
It's a couple of
like,
degrees above freezing, and you're like, I don't know, man. That polar bear club's a real thing. I mean, I'd get hypothermia in seconds, personally, but
people are always like, did you go there? I'm like, once. I'm like, what? You don't need to go there to edit. So it was always nice to be in warm California, but then you get this epic like drone footage and wildlife footage, and you're like, whoa. I was happy to be in my bay, but it was like so cool to like open. I think they're always like new gifts. You open the footage and like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Oh yeah, this is great. And the people that I worked with are still friends to this day. And like you go have lunch with these folks and you're just talking about the show the whole time.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
nostalgia must be huge. And I can imagine that there were different challenges being on a production where you're dealing with something reality like that, unscripted. There's no agenda outside of you're capturing the moment of these people's experience, right? How did you feel about editing that and the end result product that you were producing from that, as opposed to say like a Burial Boys or something where it's a narrative story that you already know how it's supposed to go about? You know what I mean?
I think through Life Below Zero made me want to I've done some scripted stuff recently, but like I really think Life Below Zero changed me because it was real storytelling that intrigued me. I kind of don't even want to watch scripted television anymore. I'm kind of like not against it, but I'm just like,
it kind of killed it for you a little bit. Yeah,
it did.
It kind of killed it for you a little.
Oh yeah, and no, I don't want like, just give me something I want real people. I mean, I know sometimes, and then I like to watch other shows and be like, it's like, oh, well, that didn't seem too real. So I kind of like, are they playing a trick on me with the edit and stuff like that?
Yeah.
But I just want to see stuff about real. I mean, all those Vice documentaries are amazing. Like, I'm a big wrestling fan, as we talked about.
Right.
All those Dark Side of the Rings, like amazing. Just like hearing the story. I think I don't know. Everyone's like, you never saw this show. I was like, I don't want to watch 45 episodes of this. Just give it to me in an hour and a half or
yeah. Well, that's
episodes.
Just it. It's a time commitment too, right? So if you go back to, I always think like the era of the sitcom was like mid to late 60s through like the 80s, partially the 90s, right? And then they started fading out into this reality television.
Yes.
And more real things, like people having real experiences as opposed to this pseudo world, right? And granted, the time frame, they had their place, right? The sitcoms had their time and their place.
Yeah.
But I don't think people have the patience for it anymore. And certainly they don't have, people want things in little bite-sized snippets now.
Your sitcom is on here right now. It's your Insta video, whatever that is.
Yeah, and you're lucky if it's 90-second clips at a time.
No,
because nobody has the patience for it. They want you to like boom, boom, boom. You look at TikTok for more than 3 or 4 seconds and you haven't found the hook. You're like, all right, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing?
I just love I love the art of documentaries now. Like if I watch, Tom Seymour's movies, I like to see like, what did Tom do?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, okay, on Netflix, there was like another OJ thing. I'm like, I already know the story. And then I watched it, I was like, actually, this was really good. Like it was the way that they did it, learned a couple of new things, but it's like, I just love the way that these stories are told. Like there's no right or wrong. I guess the right is to be, we're not making anything up here. Stay true to like what's going on, but how can you change the picture, distort it? I don't know what it is. The music cues, like I was watching some documentary last night. It's my favorite, and it's unfortunately a murder doc, but just the music cues and the shots, I was like, ooh, that feels so like I could do that with my camera. That's what I love about documentary. It's almost like punk rock. It's like, I could do that too.
This is clearly one of my questions was, what did you feel like your biggest thing in your career has been? Clearly it's this. It's Life Below Zero.
But I think this was the launching pad.
Yeah. How did you see a change in LA from the time that you moved there to today in how things are and how the industry is out there? And I asked this question with the caveat and the underpinning of you were kind of on the tail end of physical media when you moved out there, right? Like video stores were kind of wrapping it up.
Yeah.
But you grew up with all that. You're only a few years younger than me. So you remember Blockbuster, you remember
I was the store manager at Tom and Kay's Video.
Yeah. So, and that for everybody listening, that was a chain in Connecticut
and Massachusetts. Yeah, a couple.
Yeah, and I remember that chain. I remember that was a competitor to Fun Stuff. Like it was kind of like on the same level. They had like 10 or 15 locations, and so did Bruce and Mitch and everybody that was involved with the Fun Stuff video chain here in Connecticut, back up in Connecticut. But what did you see industry-wise change from that time, from the time of like first going out, then contemplating getting out there, and then to today? What's going on? Like what are you feeling?
I remember one of my coworkers, we were so busy to really, for me, I was like, we're just busy. So I just work. And I remember at least one or two coworkers were like, we're very fortunate right now because it's bad out there. And I'm like, you're the second person to say that. I mean, how bad is it? Like I had no idea. And I think when the writer's strike happened, we don't have writers. Mm-hmm. I think it was like COVID, then the writer's strike. I mean, we don't have writers. COVID, we still got to work from home, which was great. I was very shocked when they canceled Life Below Zero. But again, it was 12 years. I mean,
right.
It's got to go eventually. I think coming out of it, okay, now what? Bass drop, boom. Like, what do we do next? And what I'm realizing now is, I think like going backwards. Everything's like 9:16 video. Like, can you edit this way? And I'm like, yeah, why? Oh, because, I'm not saying this. Other people are saying this, like, oh yeah, TV's dead. Everything's social media. Everything is stories and reels and Instagram. And I'm like, God, I mean, at least I had Life Below Zero and said I was a part of this culture, Hollywood culture or whatever, but it just stinks because it's like I was at the end of it too.
Yeah, it's weird. Tom and I often sit and wax philosophical about this pattern that we've seen over the last 20, 30 years. And one of the things is I always come back to this, and I'm not going to, I've said this in a couple of my episodes recently, so I'm just going to hit 1,000 foot. Just the lack of the revenue streams that existed 20 years ago as opposed to today. And then you turn around and you've got aging stars that used to carry movies for years. I mean, the action stars in the 80s, like
Bruce Willis,
Willis, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and now and the demand that they had for money, and anybody that's like an artifact from that era that still wants to demand 20, 25, $30 million a movie. And you realize there's no money, dude. There's not several revenue streams and processes before it even gets to sell through. And like now it's just the theater, a 50-50 split with the theaters, and then whatever streaming you can get it to that has, like an upfront, you have to pay for it first before it becomes available on whatever network. But then how are you going to take these monthly subscriptions and spread it in peanut butter across everything, give people their cut? You know what I mean? Like in the individuals, like it's different, man. It's a different world. There's just not this big pile of money like there used to be,
No.
And then you've got these studios spending $250, $300 million on a movie. I'm like, they're never going to recover that. They're never going to recover that.
It's sad because I'm like, what do I fall back on? I don't have a fallback. I have to go. My last gig that I just did was exactly that, cutting those 9:16 videos and getting on board with the woman who won Squid Games for her social media channel. That was my gig since October, and that has just come to an end because, whatever. It doesn't matter why it came to an end, but I was like, this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Cutting stuff for social media.
I think the shift, and you can give your insight into this as well. I think the idea is tighter budgets with a revenue share on the back end for more people involved with the projects. And the reason I think that model would work going forward is this reason. Like I'm following, some of the lesser titles on like A24 or the studio that did Megan. I forget the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. But
yeah, whatever. Yeah.
The folks that do that.
Blumhouse or something.
Yeah, Blumhouse, that's it. And the folks that did, I think it's a South Korean based company that did Godzilla -1.
Mm-hmm. I watched it.
All the studios I'm talking about and the movies I'm talking about, we're talking low double-digit million, like anywhere from 10 to 14 were their total budget. Now, I'm not talking about the advertising and everything else. I'm sure there was plenty spent there. But my understanding, I still have to get around to watching Godzilla -1. My understanding is the level of production on that is on par with any of the Jurassic Worlds, right? Like, it looks stunning.
It was great.
And they did it for a fraction of the cost, which means to me it is very possible to do sustainable high-end productions in Hollywood without the bloat, right? Without these bloated $100 million plus, budgets that become more like exponentially more difficult to recoup. And I think that's me. I have an accounting and finance background. I did that for 20, 25 years while I still was like an artist. So I've got the left-right brain thing going on. And I always come back to that because I'm like, art's great, but you got to figure out a way to sustain it. You got to figure out a way to make sure that you can keep telling your stories but you're not keep digging this infinite hole where nobody wants to hire you anymore because what you're doing in essence isn't generating enough money. And the studio system, like ultimately that's the reason we have sequels to things that don't need sequels.
Yeah. And they do well.
They
do super well. Not that they're great, they do well.
Yeah. Well, because people know what to expect. It's like watching 7 seasons straight of Dora the Explorer with your kid. They're formulaic. They're a 3-act cartoon that lasts 22 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every single one has the same pattern. But the same thing happens with some of these sequels. Dude, Jurassic Park is the same freaking story like 10 different times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bad idea. You cloned a bunch of freaking things that are extinct, right?
And here we go again. And then what stars can we kind of get back? All right, we got this one. All right, we got this one.
Well, you almost kind of answered one of my other questions, but I'll just push it out there to you. What advice would you give to an aspiring editor to break into the industry today?
Well, first you got to definitely learn all the AI tools. Do it.
Yeah.
Learn it.
Yeah.
Right now we talk about this. What's up?
What do you use right now?
Forever I was like, I'm never using Premiere. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Using Premiere.
Yeah.
I use it because I was using Avid, Final Cut 7 forever.
Mm-hmm.
Back home, Connecticut. Taught that. Came here, had to learn Avid because that was like the industry standard. I cut my last picture on DaVinci because I just wanted to try it out and it was free. And then getting back into the game again after being unemployed for about a year, it's Premiere. And I'm like, I got to know it because I was just seeing like every listing for jobs too and like staff me up, whatever. They're all saying Premiere. So I was like, whatever, I could figure this out. And then I really started got a handle of it. And now it just seems like all the AI tools that are coming out are working with that program the most. I don't think Avid's doing a lot of that. So right now is learning all the tools. If you can get work with like a influencer or social media work, go that route because the people may not pay as much as like what industry editors were making on television shows, but at least it's something. And I think that's what people are looking for, those fast editing, like quick stuff.
Well, yeah, because they want to build that resume, right? You want to show people that you have a body of work that you've been able to. I would do
that because a lot of people that I've worked with, they can't do that, or they're not an definitely if you could be an editor, a music person, Photoshop, like just know how to do all of it. I mean, you're not going to be able to do all of it, but know those things so you're like self-efficient and they don't have to ask. If they ask you, you just say yes. Even if you don't know, just say yes.
Yeah.
Because if you're smart, you can watch little Jimmy in Arkansas show you on a YouTube clip in like 10 minutes.
Right.
Long as you have an understanding of what the program does, yeah, I would just say, and definitely stick around. Like if you come to LA, stick around. Don't like, this place, oh, it's too tough, I got to go. And just
anything worth doing requires discipline and consistency, right?
Yeah. And just don't fall into the traps of like, make sure you get, if you surround yourself with people, make sure they're nice people. I think that's the basis of what I have always is community and friends. Because if you have someone to talk to, if you're just in your own head and you're like, oh, I'm the best, or why doesn't no one like my talent? I think if you have people around you that care about you and you start talking out your problems and people that also do the same thing you do, editors or, sound people, music people, you're all on the same team. And you're just kind of like, you can't do it all yourself.
But it sounds like you picked the right peer group almost immediately.
And they're crazy. And they're crazy. Like they're nuts. They're insane. It's like my friends are like, they are jackass.
Yeah, but like it's real easy to fall in the trap, especially in a big city like that, and where everybody's pining to get, to get ahead or get that next gig or whatever. That people are just out to get each other or backstab each other in the back. But it sounds to me like you found a good core group of people that really kind of help lift each other up, and that's fantastic, dude. That's really good.
I think it came with meeting musicians first.
Okay.
It was meeting musicians first because I know that scene so well.
Mm-hmm.
And then through meeting all these musicians and bands, video, when I first got here 12 years ago, everyone wanted like a music video for their YouTube page or whatever. And they called me. So I was like, through the bands and the musicians, that's where I started making all the friends. And then the TV people were kind of, then we talk about what we do, and I would like show them my music stuff and invite them out to shows, like, come see this band or come see my band. And I got them like not out of the house, but like I brought them into like my circle or like into my environment. Like, come see this stuff. It's really cool. Like, you could have fun too. Like, don't be shy or don't put up a wall just because we work with each other in an office. Like, come out.
Right.
Yeah, like come out. And they're like, why? Like, I got compliments. Like, you're so outgoing. Like, you're so like people. I go, yeah, but it's easy to be nice. So I guess some
not
people
for everybody, dude. Like, it's like
apparently,
I just
you don't have to. I mean, I don't know. I would just always been this way. I think it was just being in bands since I was a kid, trying to like, you would have to like, part of the protocol was like to go up to everyone after the show or before the show, like
thank them for being there. Yeah.
Thank you for coming. They always wanted to talk to us. Sometimes I probably had like a bad day at work and didn't want to talk, but I still did. Probably made me feel better afterwards. So maybe I just learned that from music because, I wanted to be a musician first.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I wanted to make movies first, then became a musician. Because growing up, it was like, Jesus, seeing all those Spielberg and Lucas movies when I'm like in the 80s, it's like, come on, watching like Indiana Jones, like Back to the Future, RoboCop, Total Recall, E.T. I was just like,
you're hitting all the boxes that I watched. So
Goonies, like, and it's like I wanted to make movies.
That
but
holds
like,
up, by the way. I just recently watched that.
Goonies?
Yeah, like 6 months ago. And I'm like, damn, that still holds up. It's still a great movie.
I got, for my birthday, it was in January, I got a 4K Ultra Blu-ray player. I don't even stream anymore. Like, if I'm streaming, it's on your account because you're paying for it. I'm not paying for it. I don't like streaming. But there's a video store here called Game Dude, and it's a big warehouse, tons of video games, old Nintendo games. Like, they got all the cartridges, Sega, and they have Blu-rays and DVDs as well. And I just been going buying like older movies on this 4K disc.
Nice.
And then watching all those special features. Like, what a lost art. You can't watch that on streaming.
No.
Like the making of that. Those things used to inspire the hell out of me, and they still do, to like I just got, I liked it. Not many people like the new Indiana Jones, but I got it for $2.50 on a Blu-ray. And
nice.
It's like over an hour, 5-part documentary. And I'm like, this is the stuff that I love, like the magic of making the movie, not just the movie itself.
Yeah, the most recent one on streaming that I actually purchased was Tron Legacy. And that
I
one
have that.
happened to have an extended period at the end where it showed about the making of, and it actually showed about the teaser they did and they built for Disney. And they did it, they broadcast it at some major event. It was like, whether it was the major game event of the year, or if it was at the other one that's typically in Vegas for new technology and stuff. Wherever it was, they screened it there, and the audience lost their shit.
Yeah.
And they're like,
good. I
that's
love that
when
movie.
Disney
Sick.
was like, yeah, we're making this. They actually recorded. Did you know that they recorded the first battle that Flynn's son was in when he first goes in, and they're like chanting, they're like Rinsler, like all the chanting in there was actually at that event. They just recorded a bunch of people chanting different things, and they put that in the movie, not even knowing they were going to have a movie yet. So they had the audience just like chant that stuff. And
That movie's sick. I have it when I used to buy movies on iTunes. I do have it. I'll have to check the bonus features. I think I've seen what you're talking about, but I do have it on iTunes.
Oh, okay.
I stopped buying movies on iTunes, but I do have the iTunes still.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't even know how I got off track on that one, but
It's probably my fault.
I think I wanted to make movies first as a kid, but we didn't have camera phones. We didn't really have cameras in our hands, so it was harder to do that. I mean, I wrote a lot of scripts. Like I wrote tons of like scripts as a kid. I would just write down like I would make up another Star Wars movie because they ended, but I wrote my own. Continued the saga, or I wrote like another Indiana Jones or Back to the Future 4. Like I have these in the garage to this day, like my old scripts for like another movie.
Well, that's great.
My mom kept all that stuff, and playing music was a little bit more accessible when you got to be like 13, 14, asked for a guitar. My buddy got a drum kit. So that was easier. Now it's like, I don't want to play music as much, but I definitely want to make movies.
Yeah. So has music ever affected how you cut a scene or vice versa?
Every single time.
Really?
Every time.
Elaborate.
It is always the music. Always. Okay. Like I will, like even with your library, I'll sit through your library. Like, oh, this sucks. Maybe for you. No, just kidding. No, but I'm just trying to find something where I'm like, that's it. That one, I can work with that one. And then it really builds it for me.
So does it inspire it inspires how you're going to cut the scene?
Like 100%.
Wow. Okay.
100%. Because for me, that's the biggest trick in the book, because it's all about pacing. So it's like this last project, I was like building the music first and like trying to find the cues first and then plot them on a timeline and then start to build the edit, because I was already having this music drive what I thought was going to be a scene.
Okay.
So I was doing it backwards because I was like waiting on the story producer to get me bites. I'm like, well, while I'm still waiting, let's be productive. So I started to score first. I've never done that before. Score first. Yeah. I mean, there was stuff that I've just recently heard of yours, and I was like, I just, flag it, or I download it and put it on a drive for later, because I'm like, I like that. I don't know what I want it for, but in the future, gonna use that. I don't know for what it is. So 100%. What is editing? It's storytelling, but it's also rhythmic. And just like writing a song, I probably, when I was a kid, I wrote songs that were too long. But as I got older and worked with people that show me how to be a better songwriter, it's that same method of, okay, verse, chorus, solo, bridge, ending chorus. And that's kind of how the edit starts to develop. Because sometimes I could feel when I'm like, oh, this is too much. And I'm always constantly thinking, especially nowadays, like, what would the producers that I used to work with say?
Right.
I'm trying to like get in their heads. Like, what would someone say? What would they say? What would my friends that are editors around me say? But it's always the music. It's always the music. I mean, because if a song is, perfect, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, and I edit this thing within that time frame, And that cue had kept my interest for 3 minutes. I know it's going to keep the interest with the visuals
audience
as well.
Right.
And then
And
sometimes
if you know you have
I'll
enough, if you have enough visual footage,
yeah.
you know that you can cut it up in such a manner as to keep the flow, right?
And then I'll take, maybe that cue is good, but it goes in a different direction, and that's not the direction I want to go. And I love taking a bunch of cues and making my own cue out of the cue. Sound design, I guess, music design. So that's always fun too, like taking some of your cues. The cat wants to say hi. I saw your cats too. This one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's back there. He's perched in a place that's off camera
There
now.
he is.
What's up,
Want to
buddy?
say something?
What's up?
Speaking of music, this is Kurt Cat Bane. Curtis.
Kurt Cat Bane. It's
Curtis.
the best.
Gertie. He's like a dog.
How
I
about
like taking like a bunch of cues and then like some magical way it just happens where it's like one of your cues I'll only use like 20 seconds.
Mhm.
And then I'll pull this over here and maybe I'll come back to this or try this. And that's
you
my
had a
favorite.
really unique way of layering different releases of mine, and I think we had this conversation before you showed it to me. Before you showed me Shoot the Guns 2, the sequel that needs no prequel. Just want to make sure I put the tagline out there for everybody.
That's what sells that movie. The movie hasn't come out yet.
But I think there was a little trepidation. You're like, I hope this isn't an issue. I'm like, oh God, no. I'm like, however the music works for you. And that's the beauty of how I'm offering my catalog, because it's unique, right? It's the Creative Commons royalty free way of life here, that like, hey, use it, get the attribution and things, and then I go the royalties on the back end,
It's beautiful.
But
I started with Kevin
years
ago, and I think Tom Seymour was the one that
pushed you to his site.
And I used it forever. I probably can't even go on there anymore because I was like, no, I already used all that stuff. I can't. And then I think I had talked to Tom again. I was like, I used all Kevin's stuff. You know anyone else? He's like, yeah, go use Tim. He's like the same dude. I was like, all right. And I'm like, oh, wow, look at all this stuff. This is great. Oh, this stuff is really good. If I ever make something, I'm going to use that for later. No, I love it. I mean, you do an excellent job. And
well, thank you.
It's just, it's so great. And just to hear shit that like rocks, and you're like, yeah, I can't wait. There's a couple times like using your music and editing something. And even though I was cutting like, a stupid comedy, I still got tearful through it. Yeah. I was like, this is all working.
That's been happening with me lately, even like more often than not. Like I'll
probably see somebody.
Probably should, but I'll write something, and I guess I'm being authentic to myself and whatever's coming through me or out of me or whatever the hell you call it when you channel this music creativity. But some of the things like orchestrally or like, synth wise, some of the lines and stuff, like they just get me. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, man. This is really, really cool. And it's even better when people resonate with it,
when I was a kid and making, I'll try to dig them up for you. I think I have some of them, like the original Shoot the Guns, the first cop movie I made. I was probably like 21.
Okay.
And I couldn't even grow a mustache. We had like fake ones, and sometimes they're like upside down, like falling off. What I used to do is like go to like the public library and just grab soundtracks. It didn't even matter. I was like, well, okay, maybe I'll try this. And I grabbed like a stack of soundtracks. And this is when you could rip CDs onto your computer.
Right.
So I just ripped all this music from the library. And then when I made like Shoot the Guns or this old cop movie when I was a kid, I was just pulling cues from all these soundtracks that I rented from the library. So I've been doing that kind of thing, like, and even way before that in high school, we had like the first VHS to Avid. So we had switch school projects. We had to do like a PSA. I think my PSA was don't eat the school's cafeteria food. And I had this puppet. I still have it. It's in the garage. It's this puppet. It's a Slimer from Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So I was basically ripping off the end of Spaceballs, where like the thing like comes out of the stomach, And that was like, it was supposed to, like, the PSA, the teacher's like, it's got to be a serious PSA. I was like, well, this could happen. So like, I have a student puking in the bathroom at school, and then the Slimer monster comes out of his stomach and then chases him around the school. Like we tied like fishing wire to him and just like, but then pulling me again, did the same thing. Like back then, I think I had to take a stereo in order to get the music on the computer because there was no CD ripper yet. I would record with the VHS camera, the lens cap on the stereo, and record the stereo, pick another track, record the stereo, and then dump the VHS and then just capture audio only, which I was creating, which is now a WAV file or like an MP3 or something. And that's how I used to do it.
That's an interesting way of getting around it.
And how else was I
getting
supposed
rid
to
of the footage, right? Like you don't need the footage, you just need the audio.
No, I just, yeah. And then you just name it on whatever this music is. Because I was like, how else do you get music on the computer? I was like trying to like figure it out. Because you need music. And then like we did like an Indiana Jones parody at Sleeping Giant, and it was like,
I remember Sleeping Giant.
Yeah, there's a castle on the top. So we like filmed all the way going up there, and then finally we had our big battle scene, and it was getting dark, right? Well, this is like not a national park, but a town park, I guess, whatever. And we almost got fined because the Rangers were looking for us because we got stuck. We're trying to come down. We couldn't see. You're not supposed to be there after daylight, but we were trying to get our last shots. Yeah, we weren't finished killing the Nazis yet. We're still killing the Nazis. And then we come down, and sure enough, we're too young. They didn't find us, but like we got in trouble. But that was us as kids. It was like always guerrilla style, making like no permission asked.
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah, forget it.
Like we shot in a parking garage one time, and we had like this. One of the kids was like really good at building special effects. And he had like this thing we put behind someone's neck that like just started squirting fake blood. So we're like in a parking garage after hours shooting this thing with like fake guns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We do the scene, giant. That's the last thing we did. All splatter on the wall. We're like, let's get out of here. And we left it there, and it was cold. So it definitely froze. And probably the next day, people coming to work going,
what happened here yesterday?
Someone got murdered here last night.
Well, you mentioned Hamden. When I was in high school, we didn't have a jazz band. I went to Plainville. So I was in Plainville High School in Connecticut, and we had a rock band. So, and our teacher, this gentleman by the name of John Smeda, he played out in, nightclubs and stuff on the weekends and everything. And he knew some people in the New Haven area, and he was in tight with some producers and stuff that had studios down there. The first year I was in rock band was my freshman year, and we got to record in Ace Frehley's studio in Hamden or North Branford. It was in that area. He had a mansion there, and yeah. And he had a mansion that had jack-ins for guitar, bass, anything you can imagine in pretty much every room in the house. And then there was a 64 track or 32 track studio in the basement. And that first year I hit the mother load the first year of high school. Like I went to a studio 3 years in a row when he was a teacher there. And, I've never been in that level studio since, because what I can do here at home is just unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like I am my own producer, and everything. But that experience was bananas. It was bananas to go to a real studio with like a real engineer. This guy's name was Vic something. He had a studio in New Haven.
Vic Steffens?
Yes, Vic Steffens. That was it. So you're familiar with him?
That's not his real name, but that's his stage name. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you know who he is.
My bass player used to date his daughter.
No, what a small world.
And he lived actually up the street from my mom's house. So yeah, I know where they live.
Okay. Yeah, he was incredibly gracious to us. I think we used to raise money to do the studio time, but honestly, I think it was a charity to my teacher and everything, because we didn't spend that kind of money. And for all I know, my teacher paid for it, but that experience between my teacher, Vic, and the studios that we were able to record in, what an experience to give kids in high school, dude. Like that made me fall in love with everything I was doing. You know, it was really wild.
It was
Really
great.
wild.
It was great growing up and just jamming before, like, I remember the internet came out. We're like, yeah, that's cool. I think we used it to like prank call teachers because you could record it. We never like, we're like, oh, that's cool. But like, we were still going out and like jamming or like playing in the woods and stuff or filming dumb movies. Like, the internet didn't consume us. And I think we're
Right.
like the last generation before it did, where it was like, it's there.
Now
it's
everybody
kind of
just, I don't even have it in my room right now because I didn't want to get distracted during our talk. But like literally, like people are on that 24/7, you know, and it's right there.
Mhm.
And then if people text you or whatever, like, where were you? Blah, like just because I have this device
I
that
know.
makes me accessible 24/7 doesn't mean I am. Okay.
I have to control my anger because I do get very irritated when somebody's trying to have a conversation with me during the day on text.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we talk. We set aside some minutes to talk. But we're like, I'm using my hands to do this over here. I don't want to be doing this and this. Like,
Right. Like jump
It's
on a
like-
phone, jump on a phone call like a normal
yeah,
human
some of these
being.
people are just like on their lunch break or whatever. And I'm like, I appreciate you, but it's like, I'd not call me later or call me now. I'll get up, talk to you in the yard, but I don't want to be typing in two different places at once.
I agree with you there.
It's so
Wholeheartedly.
frustrating. I mean, it's very frustrating.
What would be your ideal next dream job? I mean, it's kind of a hard ask because this last thing seemed like it was really a way for you to shine and show your talent.
I mean, we're doing it right now, marrying my two favorite things together, rock and roll and documentary. And we're in the early stages of doing a rock doc for Graham Bonnet. Not many people know who Graham Bonnet is, but Graham Bonnet is the former singer of Rainbow. He had the 1980s hit, Since You've Been Gone.
Mm-hmm.
Since You've Been Gone. Not the Kelly Clarkson song.
Mm-hmm.
The real song. I wasn't even born yet. It's crazy. And he was in a band, Alcatraz, with Yngwie Malmsteen.
Two Z's. Right? Two Z. Yep. Two Z's in the name.
And Graham happens to be he's still going strong at 77. And I was lucky enough to travel with him in Spain and Malta, first time in Europe with a band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were out there just recently, just this last fall, right?
Yeah, it
Or
was
or
right before
January?
Thanksgiving. I was there for like 2.5 weeks right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I think I'm doing it. I think also it's like taking a huge risk because there's no money in this to be made. We've talked about crowd sourcing, donations. And I mean, I'm going to have to set all that up on my own just because these things do take some money. It's just, people want to see it. I'm sure they'll help and donate and we'll have some tiers of, producer credit or we'll take you to dinner, go to dinner with us. And
Right.
different stuff, but it's been going great. And right now I've been just paying my way. Like Spain, I paid my way. The band didn't pay. I paid my way because I don't want their money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I came to them with this project, and I think it's a good it has a good story. At first, I didn't know what it was, and then I was thinking more and more about it, and it's just we're in a weird time where like David Lee Roth is still trying to perform, and
Right.
the Stones are still around, and Brian May's still going, and these guys are getting into their 70s and 80s, and it's like,
Who's behind
then
them?
what happens in 10 years from now?
Yeah, who's behind them? The era of these arena rockers is like rapidly evaporating. And
Yeah, so what happens next?
and what is it all going to be? Is it all going to be like AI compositions and stuff that doesn't have a lot of, not that any, like some of that stuff is actually halfway decent if you work with the programming and you rework the music in a DAW like a Logic Pro or
Mm-hmm.
Pro Tools or something like that, and then you instrumentize the various pieces yourself, and then in essence it's an ideation machine in which you're creating the ultimate final piece of music, right? But there's people that just open up a DistroKid account and just get this $10 a month subscription to Suno and just fire out song after song after song, first iteration, and just publish it. And we're going to have this like glut of just, I don't know, like peanut buttered music that all sounds the same. But then isn't that pop sometimes too?
Yeah, that's pop. Now, I think, someone heard another podcast about the same topic, about like of rock going to be dead, and all these guys are getting older, and she doesn't know all of the rock stuff. And I said, well, it's not going to be dead. It's going to go back where it belongs, and that's in the underground, because people are still going to embrace it. It's just not going to be on this huge platform right now. Maybe someone will come through like another Nirvana, maybe.
Right.
But I think it's got to go away for a while and just be back in the club.
Yeah.
Which is a greater experience seeing it there than paying $500 to go to like the SoFi Stadium. I'd rather have my rock and roll in a more intimate environment.
Some of the best performances I've ever seen were at the Sting in New Britain. It was the big one in New Haven. It may not even be there anymore, but it was a small venue, maybe 100, 150 people tops, standing room only. What the hell was it called? I saw Korn there for the second time, and that was a show. Full room energy. Whole room was moving. I had bruises for days.
All right.
And I was on the outskirts with a bodybuilder that could protect me. At the time, I was like maybe 155 pounds soaking wet, skinny as a rail. I'm far removed from that at this age, but
maybe you should see somebody about that.
Or eat more. No, or eat less. Eat less.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I think it's not a bad thing. I don't really enjoy going to those big giant shows anyways. And I like to find new bands. I don't really want to go see, I don't know, who do people go pay and see? Like, I've seen Foo Fighters enough. I like the band. Yeah. I've seen them enough, and it's the same. You hear all those hits over and over again. Nothing new happens. It's like, I'd rather go, oh, this band from Australia is coming and they play rock and roll. I'd rather go, oh, they're playing, I don't know, they're playing the Roxy. The tickets are $25. I'd rather do it that way.
Yeah. I've seen A Perfect Circle a couple times, and the last time I saw them, half the songs they played weren't the way they normally play them. And I'm like, that's what this is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be about you guys just grooving on something a little differently than you normally do. And I'm like, oh, I hear elements of that piece, of that one song that I really like by you guys. Like, and then, but you're doing this other weird thing with like this ambient thing going on, and you're barely even singing on this one. I'm like, this is kind of a cool groove. It's like a chill tune between a couple of your big hits that you're going to play normal for people, because that's why they came, because they know enough artistically to know, like, hey, listen, if we do that with everything, we're going to alienate our audience. They're here for a reason, right? But they're also here for an experience, and there's nothing like the live experience. Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
No. I think like more clubs like a Toad's Place. That's kind of like the size of the
Toad's Place. Yeah.
Kind of like the size of the Roxy out here. I just loved. There was a band that I saw. They're really good. They're from Australia, called DZ Death Ray, and they're like a 2-man group. Now they got like a third. I think they got like 2 more guys coming in, but at first they were just 2 dudes. And man, it is like 90s rock, but with a little bit of like futuristic sound to it, a little bit of a little spacey on some of the effects and stuff, but like still feels like the 90s just updated. And I saw them in a tiny club downtown Los Angeles, probably like 150. They're huge in Australia, just maybe not here. And I was rocking out. I don't remember jumping around like that in a long time. It just felt amazing.
That's really cool. I'm gonna pay attention to that trend, because I feel like just from this conversation, you're absolutely right. Like, I picked up a couple of software VSTs, software instruments that have an emphasis on metal guitar, and I'm going to do more of that stuff this year. I'm kind of overdue. I didn't do one last year, and each year prior to that, I did at least one album that involved some kind of metal guitar. But this stuff is like, dude, I like some pretty heavy stuff, and I like, plus there's a lot of darkness in the different styles that I do, and it's just fun to do. I just like to, like to create like creepy atmospheres and everything. You know, I wouldn't say like it's King Diamond-esque or anything like that, but it's like, you know, I like to create just a weird vibe sometimes, or just take a style of music that, okay, here's some electronic music, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this thing called glitch, which is a weird, like, it's not techno, it's not electronica, it's not house. I don't know what the hell this is,
Doesn't matter.
But
don't need a label.
Yeah, but it's got this cool groove to it, and I grooved on it, and I grooved on these 8 to 10 tracks. It's in my glitch category. People are like, dude, I don't know what that is, but I like it. And I'm like, okay, I'm creating something new that people are like, they're not even sure. Like, I had to listen to it a few times, but I kind of like that. I like that track. You know, it's weird, man. It's weird when I'm bouncing around trying to write all this stuff for people's productions and for things that I think people need, doing short form comedy, short form nightmares for the horror stuff. All of a sudden I come up on this thing. Last fall was a perfect example. I'm trying to write freaking holiday tunes. I end up firing out a jazz album, you know? I'm like, dude, how the hell did that happen? And it was like accidental jazz, like 6, 7, 8 tracks. Okay, I guess I'm publishing this, you know? No, it's so much fun, dude. It's so much fun. And then you get projects like the stuff that you had come up, and Tom Seymour was like, he's like, yeah, dude, your buddy cop, he's like, I'm pushing this to Eric. He's literally doing this thing right now that could use stuff like this. And I'm like, I
have the whole record.
No, we're dating ourselves.
I would love to play. I would love to do more music. It's just like, it's time for a break from that. I still get to do music with video, which I'm happy with. And
well, all you got to do is tell me the style you're looking for. And that's the hugest motivator. That's a big ask I'm making this year. To all my audience and all the people that use my stuff is literally like, what seems to be lacking out there? Like what styles of music are you like, yeah, in the royalty free space, I just can't seem to find A, B, and C. And that's the kind of like I got 4 or 5 people being like, I could use some synthwave, but I just haven't found the right type of synthwave. And I'm like, I guess I'm exploring that this year because it sounds like a need that needs to be filled, you know?
I'd probably do things in a different way where I would like record it on my phone. Like, I like stuff like this and just like record like a few seconds of it. Like, because for me, it's like storytelling can be just about anything. But I hear stuff, I'm like, oh, I want something like similar to that, similar to this. I might just start doing that where I start like audio recording it.
Yeah.
And then just send you like a 15-second clip of stuff I'm hearing.
Anytime.
Yeah.
That inspires me because then I do this sample thing in my head where I'm like, okay, there's 5 instruments in there. I can work with that. I know what that pattern, that speed, got it. And then I'll iterate on that 4, 5, 10 ideas. And invariably for myself, there's 2 or 3 of them that I really groove on. But then, dude, it's like, you never know what people are going to like. So you put out an album of 8 or 10 things. And then the stuff that you really artistically and mechanically felt like you did the best on is rarely the stuff that resonates. It's like this other thing that was a throwaway track that you're like, I'm like, I don't think anybody's going to like that. They're like, this is great. I can't win. I don't know. I just have to put it out.
There were, I forget what you called it. Sorry, I'm away from the camera, but I have it right here.
That's right.
And I put it aside. There was one.
You got it on your list, your database of.
I do. I have music, and then I have a Tim folder. I'm just starting to build. Yeah, there was like one called Documentary Contemplation.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, other ones, I'm building my own library from your libraries, going like, this is like, what I would call this album is storytelling. So I'm building like a storytelling library on cues that I hear that all go under this umbrella.
Nice.
Nice. So I probably wouldn't pick the metal ones because I already have a metal guy we're talking about. And we'll showcase his music here and there.
Absolutely.
But I'm trying to find like those story pacing tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like,
when do you think you're going to be done with that? What's the plan for timeline?
I need to get the funding
Mm-hmm.
for this crowd thing, because the ultimate goal would be just to not go to work every day and become like a full-time employee on this.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the ultimate goal right now. I'm working to see if that's even possible. Because, these other docs I've made in the past, they would take like 1.5, 2 years, but I had a full-time job.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm trying to do this now with them because he has just turned 77. There's a new album coming out. There's a tour in October to the UK. There's hopefully this time next year, there's a tour to Japan. So it's like that train is moving. And if I'm over here doing too much stuff, I'm never going to keep up with that train.
Right.
And the
Right.
only way I can do this is we got to talk to the audience. Do they want to see this? And if they do, it kind of comes with like a price.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
just a donation. Donations help.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, ultimately, you got to live while you're building it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the idea behind the Indiegogo or the whatever
GoFundMe,
campaign,
whatever.
GoFundMe.
We're going to try. I mean, he's internationally known and has a good amount of fans who really support him. I've seen it firsthand. Like, and they're all collectors too. They grab all his vinyl, and I know he's got a live DVD coming out pretty soon. It's like a DVD. Who buys this? His fans do.
Is there
Yeah.
a social media following for him?
Yeah.
A
I
decent
mean,
one?
there was a couple posts he did recently. I was like, got 900 people like liking and commenting. I was like, geez.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, you should, if you've got some milestones or this campaign kicks off, tell me and Tom. We'll promote the hell out of it and try to get as much
I really
traction
appreciate
on
it. I was talking to one of my best friends, Kevin, who's my camera guy out here. We
Mhm.
shoot everything together.
Yeah.
And the job that I was just on, after not having a job for a year, this job is now ending too. And I'm like, kind of working on this Graham thing. And it's like, remember, Eric, when you left to go to Hollywood, we just had this conversation, earlier, just you and I. And I'm like, what do we do now?
Mhm.
Do we take a chance on this? The answer is yes, obviously. But it's like all the work that goes into like building the ship. So it's like having to build like a GoFundMe, because I want it to be engaging. I want everything to like look great. And I really want to be able to tell the story for Graham. He deserves it. So it's just a lot of on me. This is totally DIY. No one's getting rich from a GoFundMe. That's just means of survival and paying to travel with them when they go. And they're, no one's buying plane tickets for the documentarian. The band definitely has to get on the plane, but the guy with the camera, he can tag along, but he's not in the band. So how long will it take? I mean, if this is all I had to do from now until they have a tour in October, I could probably finish it within 52 weeks. So this time next year.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, it's contingent on a GoFundMe, the salary or replacement, and whether or not you have to take on other work intermittently throughout this process.
What I'd rather not do that. And the band is bought in. Everyone's down for this GoFundMe. I don't know. As an artist, you kind of feel weird. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm taking away from them, but they're like, well, this is what this is for. It's for this project. It's not.
Right.
Yeah. It's a tough conversation to have, but so far everyone has been really cool about it. And I really feel that we can get it. That's the scary part. I really feel that we can get it from the fans, the help. But it's also like, oh boy, as the Joker says, and here we go.
Yeah, right. Like the second you unleash that floodgate, like you have to have everything in place, right? Okay, here's the various levels of the GoFundMe or the Indiegogo, and we have to be able to deliver on those various stages whenever you get to that point, right?
And I don't really have a team right now, and times are tough where you can't really afford to have a team. So it's like, done this before this way, just do it.
Yeah.
Do it on your own. And then maybe down the road, people will help out, or then maybe you can build a team if we can. But like, I don't know, kind of nervous.
Well, I think
maybe that's a good thing.
God, nervousness that means you're in the right place, because it's always scary when you stretch the muscle a little bit to grow to that next level. And it doesn't matter how much the piece of art resonates, but at the end of the day, it's something that is pulling you. You wouldn't be involved with, and you wouldn't be as focused on it if you didn't think it was a worthy cause, right? Like
No,
you believe in it. You believe in it. It's the same
I
reason.
believe in it.
The same reason that Tom and I focus on some of the more obscure sides of the movie and video industry throughout the productions that we do. Like American Expendables is a perfect example. You know, who the hell knew who North American Pictures was and the various movies associated with that? There was this era of several years to, you know, a decade and a half of these karate movies, you know, in the 80s and 90s. And they kind of did the same thing that the Westerns did. They kind of had this peak. Everybody was making them. And then they just kind of fall off. Like it hit a peak of what the public was willing to watch. Like they're like, all right, it's kind of like Marvel is right now. Like people are just kind of burnt out on Marvel, partially because of, you know, you have to watch everything to understand what the hell's going on. And they should all be standalone movies at this point. Stop this multiverse thing and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
My 2 cents. But anyway, but the bottom line is that, like, there's been tons of documentaries done on Spielberg or Star Wars or anything like that. For us to do something on North American Pictures the way we did, it was like, there's some really interesting things here. Like, where did these people like stayed in this space for most of their career, but they were amazing people and they deserve a spot in the limelight too, because they were entertaining as well. You know, like it just that's the kind of story I like to tell. I like to tell the story that's running tangent to the mainstream, because look, the mainstream just gets shoved down our throat, and you know the company and the studios with the biggest budget, they're going to tell you what's the cool movies to watch this year. But I'm the consumer. I get to make that choice.
Or
you know?
I'm not going to mention names, but I was at a documentary film fest about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the woman because we worked together on a doc, and she's like, something about Taylor Swift. And I said, you know, I don't know if I feel proud. I guess I feel proud. I go, I'm 44 years old. I have no idea what songs she sings. I have no clue. I don't. And
You've probably heard them. You've probably heard them, but you don't have that connection.
No idea. And the whole world around me knows what that is. And they question me when I say those things. Like, you have to. You should. I'm like, no. See, now you're drinking out of the Kool-Aid cup. Because I should. And these are like people that would never leave their house to go around the block to the club to see someone just like Taylor singing her heart out in a venue.
Yeah, probably five times better.
Probably 5 times better, but they were told by Disney or whatever, Taylor.
Right.
You never went to the club. You listen, just like you said about the movie stuff. You were told this is what you need to be watching or listening to. But you never went out and discovered it for yourself. And it was funny because one of the other directors from another documentary, I got a little heated. I got a little heated right now saying that because I've heard it too many times. And the other director was like, damn straight. I was like, oh yeah, he's on that guy's cool. He got my back on this one.
He's on Team Schrader.
He just met me too. I was like, Team Schrader. It's just like, I hate that stuff because I don't. I mean, I listen to the same, you know, whatever. I'm listening to Bob Seger, dude. Like I'm listening to like Hollywood Nights. I'm listening to like some Queens of the Stone Age record. I think Taylor is for another generation and not mine.
Yeah, definitely not mine, and definitely not for me. I don't specifically dislike.
Kid likes it, but
yeah, I don't specifically
if you have a daughter or a son
avoid...
and they like it. I mean, then yeah, you kind of have to hear, but I don't have like. There's no one in this house that's playing it. Like, Eric, check out this track. I'm like, no one's doing that over here. I'm lucky my girlfriend listens to the stuff that I show her, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, the era of, it'd be nice to see a resurgence of the era of the college radio station and those things teaching you like what the latest and greatest bands are. I wonder how many people are taking that chance and that leap today.
I think it's what you're doing here. I mean, it's podcasts. That's
the
format of college radio is not happening, unfortunately. It's podcasts.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a podcast from your college dorm, but that's,
right.
That's internationally. I mean, it's worldwide because anyone can watch this. So it's not going to be like everyone at the college is tuning in. That's why it's crazy because I tune into FM and I love it.
Yeah.
And people are like, are all your radios on the same station? Yeah. Surround sound. I'm the cheap. I just find these old stereos. I'm like, yep, it works. And I love it because just like life, I don't want to pick the soundtracks for my life. The music comes and it goes. Like when I said Bob Seger, the last place I was living, my landlord was always playing that. And he was like a real cool hippie. And it just reminds me of that time when we would like have fires in the backyard and talk about life. And he was very like spiritual, talk about, he reads a lot and stuff. And that's why I listen to Bob Seger now, because I was listening to it, with him. Whereas a Spotify or something, and I'm picking the songs, I'm going to end up picking probably like Smashing Pumpkins 1979 every day.
Yeah.
Just play that song again. Whereas like the radio, you're like, oh my God, I forgot about this song. Like, and then I always like I miss having the jingles. I miss hearing a jingle commercial, and how some are so stupid and it's just funny. I just miss it. So, and then the other thing too, it's like, cause this is like locally, they're talking about shows at the Viper Room. They're bringing on younger bands that are getting on the air and speaking. Like it's such a loss. Maybe not in LA, because I think this station does pretty well out here, but like,
right.
That's a lost thing. Like does Radio 104 still exist to the magnitude it did in Connecticut when I was a kid? Probably not.
The alternative rock station?
Yeah.
I don't even think it's alternative rock anymore. I don't think it is.
It's rock for your dad. 104.1. Well,
you have to keep us posted, dude. Like, you have to come on again in like 6 months. Let us know what's going on with the doc. Let us know what's going on with you in LA, with the band, everything else.
It's a interesting. My buddy says it best. I will always win. Whenever it gets down, he's taught me that. He goes,
yeah,
I will never fail.
Yeah,
I will always win.
Yeah.
And right now it's like we brought it up. It's just a very strange time to be here. And you go, oh man, is this it? Is this the highest I'll ever get? No. The answer is no.
Right. Listen,
there's more. There's more to do.
Absolutely.
That was 12 years. That was a nice time. And I think that was like going to high school and college and made me better at what I do. So I was it was like a paid scholarship or whatever, paid education.
And the thing is, dude, when you've basically attached your editing and creative identity to something for over a decade, it's absolutely natural that you need a time period, a waiting period of you kind of dissolving yourself of that experience and reconciling the fact that that experience is over and it was a great experience, but there's a new chapter to come and you need to clear your head to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It took a minute. That's why I think I made like Shoot the Guns. Anyone that's watching, was after Life Below Zero ended. I wanted to make something that it wasn't being graded. There was going to be no notes. It was just like, my friends are over all the time anyways. Let's just go make something dumb and have fun and do it together. And I think that championed me and helped me to still be creative and have all the friends around while we did it, instead of me sitting here by myself editing something for somebody else.
What are the plans, by the way, with Shoot the Guns?
For that?
Yeah.
I think my idea, to be honest, was to wait until like Toxic Avenger and like Naked Gun come out. So they're going to be like in the
August,
Hollywood.
September.
Yeah. They're going to be like in the limelight.
Yeah.
And it's a good time to sneak my movie. Like, not that's going to get sold or anything, but it's kind of like it's that genre for a second going to be showing its face.
Why don't you go through MVD? Why don't you distribute it through there?
I need more money.
It doesn't really cost very much. You should talk to Tom.
No. I need, there's one musical score that I need to pay for.
Okay.
Thanks. Because it's not cheap.
Okay.
And I'm not ready yet. I shelved it to go think about it, to come back to it. We showed it in Montana.
Yeah.
I want to miss it. And I saw it the other day, like a couple seconds, and I was like, not yet. I want to miss it and then come back to it because there's another level to it I want to do. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Like maybe make it a little bit more dirtier, make it look more like, I don't know.
I get
Grindhouse.
it. I get it.
Just
Sometimes
one
you
more
got to
layer.
sit with.
The story is there, but I got like really good notes from Montana. And I think when we got back from like ours, we showed it in Butte, Montana. And we did like an artist, audience exchange. Like they told us what they thought. All positive except like a couple notes. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't see it that way. Now I want to change it. We get back and I get a job.
Right.
I was like, damn it.
Right.
I was like, can't sit on this anymore. Daddy has to go to work.
Yep. No. And
that just ended. And now I've been doing the Graham thing. So it's like,
yeah,
I should.
Something like that shelved. I can say, I remember there was a period of several months that Tom put down VHS 1, and it was probably the best thing he ever did, because when he came back to it, he had a completely different perspective on it, and he was able to like rapid fire finish the deal, and he saw all the things that he didn't see before, because I'm sure as an editor for you as well, it becomes a blur, and there you can make an adjustment, you can make 100, and it doesn't change your perception until you put it away, have some other experiences, and then come back to it once more, right? There's something about that. I have tracks on my computer right now in folders that I could make an album today with if I just mastered and finished. But I'm not ready. They're not ready. The two of us aren't ready to figure out what that is in the form of an album or a finished song or whatever. And that's fine. But that's how I get to rapid fire between so many different genres. I'll just fire out ideas and then come back to them. And then when they're right and they're ready and they're ripe, it's time. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'll
feel it. I just need something to not motivate me because I'm so into the Graham thing. I think that was something for really just like a love letter to my friends, and they didn't know it. They were just in it. So, and we'll figure it out.
Nice. Well, you got a helping hand over here and with Tom and whatever socials, everything else. So,
I think that it's hard too, because I put myself in the movie. So, I could see how for me, I could see how upset I was because the show ended. I could see it in the character. I could see like I was trying new stuff out. I could see myself kind of like looking tired and stuff, but I always gave it 100%. But I could just see, it's so weird. You see yourself, you're like, wow, that guy's like really upset, and he's trying this new thing out right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's hard to say goodbye. I wasn't like mad at anyone, but you're just kind of like, this one thing ended, this new thing's starting up, taking a break. And then I love that movie cost $8,000, and now I'm in debt to a credit card for $8,000. Should have made that movie.
Never shouldn't. No, never shouldn't.
I was like, if I didn't make that movie, I could pay this credit card off. Damn it. Got me again, you wonderful hobby of mine.
Yes, and being creative.
God, knife.
Well, this has been awesome, dude. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today.
Yeah.
Let's talk again real soon. And thanks for being on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim. Party. Oh, wait, I want to show you one more thing. Ready?
Oh, yeah.
So this is my guitar.
Ooh.
Right?
Fly V?
Explorer.
Got it.
But every third song, when I used to play, after the third song, show them what.
Party. That's amazing.